Zobo is one of the easiest homemade drinks you can make. You can make it very quickly and also earn from it. So to make our Zobo drink, we need Zobo flour flavor, we need ginger and sugar. You can add pineapple, you can add cucumber as it suits your taste. But this particular one, I just want to show you how you can make your Zobo at home. I'm going to put how much I got each of this, how you can even start a small business with this as a student, as a housewife, even as somebody that has a job. So long as you are permitted to sell drinks, you can actually do this and make money from it. This is a module of Zobo, but I'm just going to be measuring it with cup so that we'll know how many cups we have here in case you want to do yours. So this is one. If you see any dirt in the Zobo, you can just pick it out. There is no need to rinse the Zobo because once it's boiled, any dirt in it will be at the bottom of the pot. Because we are going to be sieving this after making the Zobo. So this is 13 cups. Here we have our 13 cups of Zobo. I got this for 1,000 naira. Depending on where you are, it might be more than that. To make our Zobo, we need a very big pot. In my last video, I told you I don't have a big pot. I had to go and borrow this pot to make this video. We'll transfer the Zobo into the pot. There is no need to wash the Zobo. If you wash it, you end up wasting the drink itself. When we are filtering this, all the dirt will come out of it. We'll be adding our ginger. If you can, you pound your ginger, but you can just pieces this with our hands. I'm just trying to let you see how easy it is to make this Zobo. It doesn't take time. This might take time because I'm making plenty. So add this into. We're also going to be adding water. I want us to get an accurate measurement for the water. So here in this bucket, we have lines here in liters. So this is currently in 9.5. So we're going to be using 9.5 liters of water to boil our Zobo. So you get a turning stick or a spatula and you turn this together. When we let it to boil, it will still turn itself. But let's still turn it. We've not started boiling, but it's already brewing. So you can imagine what it will look like when you rinse the Zobo. We will just waste a whole lot of it. So I'll use a little water to rinse this. Cover it. Making sure this balances well on the fire. If you have firewood or charcoal, it will be best to use it. But I don't have any of those, so I'm using my cylinder. This to know how long it boils. So when it start boiling, I'm going to let you know how many minutes. It has been on the fire for 20 minutes and yet no sign of boiling. But it is very hot. To boil any moment. All right, so I've brought it down. I'm going to allow it cool off for some minutes before I sieve it. It's still very hot at this point. So this has been cooling for over 30 minutes and we are going to be sieving it now. Place a neat sieve on a bucket or bowl you know will contain the water you added into the zobo. I'm using the bucket we used to measure the water earlier. Ensure that the sieve is firmly placed under the bowl or bucket. This can be rinsed with drinkable water to get out more zobo drink. It's very obvious from the sieve that we can get more, so let's not waste that. Here are the containers for the Zobo drink once it is ready. So we'll be rinsing this and ensuring that they are neat for use. These ones are already clean, but I'm going to be thoroughly rinsing them to ensure that there are no germs hiding somewhere. After that is done, we'll move on to dissolving the flavors for the Zobo drink. Dissolve this with drinkable water. After dissolving it properly, add it into the Zobo drink and this doesn't require much water. It's just to dissolve it. This is the flavor I said I prefer. Jolly Juice Cola. But then you can make do with any flavor of your choice. After adding this, you can choose not to add sugar. But if you want it to be very sweet, you can still add sugar. Like I will be adding sugar in this because it's not just for me, it's for general consumption. So it has to be sweet, although not too sweet. So that being done, we need a jug like this that we can use to easily pour in the zobo into the bottle. So this is what I'll be using to fetch the zobo. We'll be using the zobo to dissolve the sugar. You know, the zobo is still warm and usually it's easier to dissolve zobo in anything warm than in anything cold. So we are going to be adding 2 cups of sugar to this. Turn it properly until it dissolves. The reason I added the sugar in a smaller zobo before adding it to the whole is to enable it to dissolve well and to enable me mix it properly. If I add it in plenty zobo, it will be harder for me to turn it. As I'm turning this, I already feel the sugar dissolve. Bigger one is longer and my spatula is not able to go to the bottom of the bucket. But if you have a wider bowl or your spatula is longer, then why not? You see my mix finger? It directly. My fingers are entering this. That's why you must always ensure that your nails are properly cut and your hands are neat at all times while doing anything in the kitchen. Wash your hands frequently, dry it with a clean towel. After mixing the sugar with the Zobo drink properly, you can taste it. After tasting this one, I realized it needed more sugar, so I added an extra cup. It gives me the vibes of fine wine, grapefruit, red grapes. But then, if you want to make profit, I advise you add more water. But be careful so that you won't end up serving your customers something very watery. It's better you make it rich and it is quite expensive than to make it watery and it is not really affordable. With time, people will stop patronizing you. So give them quality and charge them for quality. your customers will patronize you. Completely dissolved. Mix this properly. And the Zobo drink
This
is
is how I
ready.
arranged my
It's very
bottles in the pot,
easy, don't you
making sure
think?
there is no space for it to move around. So I'm going to be pouring in the Zobo now into the bottles. I wasn't able to get blocks. I would have poured blocks into this to make it cold. So if you have access to block, please make use of it. Or you can still let it to cool down. Now I'm going to be pouring in the Zobo inside the bottles one after the other. That's why I said we should use a jug. Using a jug makes it easier to pour it into the bottle. And since the bottles are clean and the pot is also clean, after putting this, you can still drink the Zobo inside the pot. I'm done filling this, so I'm just going to cover them. I'm done with covering this, so what I'll do is to transfer them into cool water. The cool water will keep the bottles clean as well as help the Zobo get cool. Since I don't have ice blocks, as I earlier mentioned, if you learn how to do this, you can actually use it to serve people that have occasions. They just give you the contract, you check the cost and check your profits, give them the price, you make it and you make your cool money. The bucket was too small, so I turned it back into the pot and poured water in. I reserved this one for myself. Let it cool. Let it cool down. Later on, I'll enjoy it. Here we go. 21 bottles of the big one and 11 bottles of the small one. If you add more water and more sugar, you should get at least 50 bottles. That being said, let's calculate how much we have spent on this and how much profit we will make if we sell this. We spent a total of 3,850 naira for 32 bottles of Zobo. If we sell each of the big bottles for 250 naira, we'll make a sum of 5,250 naira. If we sell the small bottles for 150 naira each, we'll make 1,650 naira. An addition of both will amount to 6,900 naira. If we deduct the expenses from the total amount, we will be left with a profit of 3,050 naira. So let me ask you, what can earning extra 3,050 naira daily do for you? Or let's say you are too preoccupied to produce daily. What about weekly? I'll leave you to answer that. Feel free to enjoy your Zobo drink with any meal or snack of choice. It is highly nutritious.